Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Intermountain Industrial Assessment Center video lecture series. Today, we're going to be talking about safety practices. So these are going to be safety practices that we expect you to follow anytime you're performing IAC work, whether you're on site or just working on your own. Additionally, a lot of these are just good safety practices for you to know that will really benefit you as you move into industry and the professional world beyond the IAC. So, with that in mind, let's begin. So there's three main points that we want you to think about throughout this presentation. And that is situational awareness, making sure that you're aware of any potential hazards and that you're able to react to them correspondingly. Safety equipment, that you know how to use proper safety equipment and when and where it's applicable. And last, machinery mindfulness, which basically means don't touch any machinery. So on every assessment, one of the team members will be assigned to be a safety officer. Now the safety officer has three duties, which you'll notice closely mirror the 3 points that we mentioned in the previous slide. These three duties are identifying and communicating hazards to your entire team, making sure that team members are wearing the proper PPE to address these hazards, and just in general, making sure that team members are being safe and reminding them to be safe when they're not. So we have to get this out of the way. There are some prohibited items that you are not allowed to bring on assessments. To begin with is illegal or controlled substances. Please, please, please do not bring or use any controlled or illegal substances on IAC work. Yes, this includes alcohol. Most of this is a safety hazard. We are visiting industrial manufacturing areas, and there's a lot of hazards that exist. We want to make sure that you're on your best behavior and that you're able to identify these hazards and keep yourself safe. Additionally, we want to make sure that you're engaged because customers, and more importantly, your supervisors will notice if you're not engaged, and that will reflect poorly on both you as well as the IAC and other students you work with. Second is firearms, ammunition, and fireworks. Yeah, I know these are all super fun, but you have to leave your weapons at home. There is absolutely no reason that you should have a weapon with you of any kind when you're performing IAC work. Alright, so back into general safety guidelines. So particularly when you're on site, make sure that you pay attention in the plant. Again, this goes back to situational awareness and being able to identify hazards as they occur. Comply with any safety-related requests from plant or IAC staff. These people have a lot of experience, particularly in a plant that you have never been to before. So they know where hazards exist and they know how to keep you safe. So if they have any suggestions for you, make sure you listen. They're just trying to look out for you. Never eat or drink in a plant process or storage area except at designated locations such as a water fountain or break room. There's a lot of stuff that floats around in the air, a lot of toxic chemicals, and we really don't want this to contaminate your food or get in your stomach and cause you poisoning. So please save the eating for bathroom breaks and lunch. I promise we will give you the opportunity to eat on these assessment days. And last, do not operate plant equipment, including lights. The last thing you want to do is flip a switch thinking you're going to turn on some lights and end up turning off an entire operating process. Worse yet, you really don't want to turn on a switch that turns on a piece of equipment that somebody is performing maintenance on or the people are looking at, because that puts their lives in direct jeopardy. So if you want to know how something operates or you want to try using it, talk to a plant personnel first. Alright, so general injury or illness procedures. If you become injured or if you feel sick anytime you're doing something for the IAC, please get the medical help you need. Whether you're on campus or whether you're at a facility, please make sure you're aware of safety stations, first aid locations, eye wash, showers, and be prepared to use them or help one of your teammates access them should you need to. It's better to keep it in mind and have it and not need it. All right, so with all the safety hazards, what are we allowed to wear when we visit sites? Well, we'll start from the bottom up and work our way. So starting with shoes, shoes must be closed-toed. You can't wear tennis shoes, open-toed shoes, sandals, or Crocs. I can promise you, if you show up wearing flip-flops, you'll be sent straight home. And the reason for this is that shoes are meant to protect us from all this bad stuff they have on the floors. They got sharp metal shavings and chemical spills, and if you accidentally walk into one of those, we want to make sure that you're going to be properly equipped to where it won't injure you. All right, pants. You must wear long pants. Again, this is to protect you, particularly against sharp edges and hot pipes. There's a lot of confined areas that we will occasionally go into, and if you bump into something, you just want to make sure that you got that extra layer of protection to help keep you safe. Last down here, we got shirts. Please make sure you're wearing sleeve shirts with collars. When I say sleeved, that doesn't mean it has to go all the way down to your wrists. You just can't be wearing tank tops. Can't wear t-shirts either. All right, all these clothes, all that looks good, but what about accessories? What if I want to wear some jewelry? Well, the answer is it kind of depends. In general, you can't wear anything that's loose or billowing, nothing that's dangling. And the reason for this is we don't want it to get caught into a piece of machinery and have it bring you in with it. That's messy for us. Additionally, we just don't want you getting hurt. Some exceptions are listed down below. So necklaces are totally fine as long as you put them inside your clothing. So again, just don't let them be dangling. Jackets are fine too. Just make sure that those are zipped up when you're in a manufacturing area. Jacket drawstrings, best idea is to just remove them, tie them up, or again, put them inside your clothing. And if you have any long hair, tie it up, put it in a bun, ponytail, just make sure that it's restrained and out of the way. And again, this is just because there's a lot of moving machinery in these facilities, and we really don't want you getting stuck in any of it, and we really don't want you getting hurt. All right, I think this is my favorite part of this presentation. We're going to go through some outfit choices. So we're going to look at some people, and we're going to decide whether or not we think they're ready to go on an IAC assessment. So, without further ado, why don't we look at our first contenders. All right, look at all these fun people smiling and having a good time. Do we think that they're ready to go on an IAC assessment? Well, you can see that they're wearing some shorts. Looks like they've got some loose, pretty casual looking clothing. And worst of all, that one girl is wearing flip-flops. So, no, these people are absolutely not ready to go on an IAC assessment. All right, what about these relaxed looking young dudes hanging out in the field? Are they ready to go on an IAC assessment? Well, they've got the long pants and they've got the closed-toed shoes. And their hair looks pretty good, but unfortunately they're looking just a little too casual in their t-shirts. So no, these guys are not ready to go on an IAC assessment. All right, what about this dashing power couple right here? Do you think they're ready to go on an IAC assessment? Well, it looks like they're wearing collars. They've got long pants and long sleeves to boot. Their hair is restrained and they're probably wearing closed-toed shoes. However, the lab coats do not meet the level of professionalism that the IAC is going for. We are energy consultants, not researchers, so please don't show up wearing a lab coat. All right, what about these dashing young people right here? Do we think they're ready to go on an assessment? Yeah, well, their hair is restrained. They're not wearing any loose or unreasonable jewelry aside from that man's watch, but that's okay. They both got collared shirts and long pants. Do you think they're ready? Well, almost, but not quite. See, it's their shoes. His shoes just don't look like they'd quite protect him enough if you were to step on some metal shrapnel. And the girl is wearing high heels, which please do not ever show up to an assessment wearing high heels. You will not be allowed on the manufacturing floor. All right, what about this guy? Could this be our person? Is he ready to go on an IAC assessment? Yeah, well, he's got the collared shirt, long sleeves, long pants. I mean, we can't see his shoes, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he's wearing some steel-toed boots. So, yes, I think this person is finally ready to go on an IAC assessment. All right, now that we have determined what kind of clothing we can wear, what about personal protective equipment? So, anytime you visit a plant, safety glasses and earplugs will be provided to you either by the plant or by the IAC. If you have prescription, non-safety glasses or contacts, please wear plant-provided goggles over your glasses or shields. And shields are these little side buffers that go on the sides of your glasses. Although you will have to supply those yourself, unfortunately. If you have some personal prescription safety glasses, that's totally fine. You're welcome to bring those. Just make sure they meet the plant safety requirements before you show up. Ear protection, again, will be provided to you. And the way that works is you just pinch the end, those orange ends right there, and roll it up like a little Tootsie Roll. Put it in your ear canal. It's going to slowly expand and fill up your ears. Now, if that explanation didn't make any sense, that's totally fine. There will be somebody there who can help you out with this. Main takeaway here is that you will always be notified if and where you need to wear safety glasses and ear protection, and this will be provided for you. You do not need to bring either of these on your own. All right, so getting more into the general safety hazards that we see here, there's a lot of unknown materials that you will encounter on these assessments. So talking about solid surfaces, there's a lot of pipes, walls of tanks, furnaces, vats that are possibly hot. So please do not touch anything unless you know for a fact that it's safe to do so. The best way to do this is talking to facility personnel, or better yet, taking the measurement yourself. We have these thermometers that are referred to as thermocouples. They're a non-invasive way for you to get an indirect measurement of a surface temperature. All right, well, what about exhausts and air-moving equipment? Anytime you see a stream of air, please try to avoid it. A lot of times, these can be hazardous as they're toxic or hot gas. We do see steam leaking out of pipes that can cause severe burns. If you ever have to go in the airstream, please do your best to look away to protect your eyes from anything from getting in there that can hurt you. And also make sure to hold on to any loose items. You don't want those blown away and getting lost somewhere in the manufacturing facility. All right, machinery. We love to look at machinery. We love to get up close to it, but we have to do this safely. If you see a piece of equipment that you think is off, do not trust it. Do not give it the benefit of the doubt. A lot of machinery runs intermittently, or it may start suddenly, and you really don't want to be anywhere near it when this happens, because if you get stuck in the machine, you're gonna have a bad time. Some ways to avoid any accidents from happening are to stay away from machinery, to never reach across or lean across any machinery, and to always speak with facility personnel to make sure that something is safe and that it's not in operation. All right, this is without a doubt the most important slide in this entire presentation, so please pay attention for this. Never, ever deal directly with electrical equipment. Electricity is really scary, it's really dangerous, and here at the IAC, it is not your responsibility to work with electricity. You do not get paid enough, so please don't mess with it. The reason we bring this up is because to perform our assessments, we often have to measure power draw from equipment, and we do this by putting these CTs around the wire that draws power for the equipment. However, it is not your job to do this. There will always be a knowledgeable plant personnel on site, typically an electrician, who will take care of this. Your job is to simply observe. Now, we do want you to be prepared just in case the worst happens. So, if you see somebody who is suffering from electric shock, do not touch them. If you touch them, you're just going to put yourself in shock. This is going to create a conga line of pain. The best thing to do is to get a non-conducting object such as a wooden broom handle or a plastic pipe and to use this to move them away from the electrical shock source. So we do occasionally see welders. Pretty easy safety process here. Just don't look at the arc, as this can cause blindness and some other forms of eye damage. Roofs. Sometimes, when we're lucky, we do occasionally get to go on the roof for an odd job here and there. So the main concerns here are furnaces and steeply pitched roofs. Anytime there's a furnace, you want to avoid that part of the roof. That's because the heat from the furnace can cause the metal to warp and soften over time, which can increase your chances of falling through the roof into the furnace. And believe me, you do not want that to happen. Additionally, you want to avoid steeply pitched roofs, especially here in Utah in the winter. Roofs get icy, and they get slippery, and that dramatically increases your chances of falling. So please avoid steeply pitched roofs. Hopefully there will be some responsible plant personnel there to help guide you through this. All right, well, what about when we're walking inside the plant? What do we have to be concerned about? Well, first thing you got to look out for is cranes and hoists. And the easiest thing to do there is to just not mess with any of it. You don't want to accidentally cause some accident there. And additionally, you don't want to walk in under any sort of suspended load. We trust that it won't fall, but that's just not a chance we'd like to take. Additionally, you got to look out for metal shavings on the floor. I know I've brought that up a few times, but I just want to mention it again here. These things can cut through shoes and it can infect you and leave you looking pretty nasty. I've come home from assessments before with gouges taken out of my shoes from metal shavings. So again, please make sure you're wearing solid closed-toed shoes when you're on these assessments. Last are spills on the floor. Please, anytime you see a spill on the floor, just go around it. Particularly when you don't know what the chemical is. You don't want to walk over some sort of volatile chemical that can poison you, and you don't want to accidentally step into something that will corrode through your shoes. So anytime you see a spill on the floor, the best thing to do is to avoid it completely. All right, fall protection. So anytime you're in an area with no guardrails, such as loading docks and flat roofs, make sure you stay 6 feet or more away from the edge. Especially in areas that are very much elevated, make sure that there's somebody at the bottom just to notify other people that you're up there and to make sure that people are aware in case some object happens to come falling down. All right, when it comes to fear of heights, if you don't want to go somewhere high, that's no problem. We're not going to kick you off the team. You're not going to be reprimanded. You can just wait at the bottom. We'll do our work at the top, and we'll come back down and meet you. Don't have to worry about this affecting your employment opportunity. Anytime you are going up onto one of these elevated walkways, just make sure you got both hands free, got both hands on the stairs or ladders, and that you're going one step at a time. I know it sounds silly, but you just don't want to accidentally fall and land on someone down below you. Ladder safety. This is a really big one. 500,000 people visit the hospital each year from ladder-related injuries. Again, that's ladder-related, not just fall. So make sure you take this slide kind of seriously. Anytime there's a ladder, please make sure there's only one person on it, and make sure that there's somebody at the bottom holding it still for you and giving you support. Don't skip rungs, just go up one at a time. You don't want to accidentally fall on anyone below you. Keep your body's center of gravity between the rails. Please don't be leaning over the edge trying to look at something or get some sort of vantage. Here's our third slide. This is a big topic, these ladders. Again, make sure that you have somebody bracing the bottom, keeping you safe. If there's an extension support for step ladders or extension ladders, make sure that that's locked in place and that the ladder's been placed on an even surface. You don't want to accidentally get to the top and realize that you're wobbling everywhere. And, of course, as I'm sure your mother told you a million times, do not stand on the top 2 rungs. That's just safe practice for you to keep in mind. All right, guys, we made it. So why don't we just go over the big points of this presentation one more time. So number 1, just be aware of your surroundings and existing hazards, and listen to facility staff regarding safety guidelines. These people know how to keep you safe, and they just want to keep you safe. They're not trying to bust your chops or anything like that. When you show up on site for an assessment at a client's facility, please arrive in professional manufacturing appropriate attire. No loose or dangling items. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask any of the other IAC members that you work with. Facility staff love to see U of U gear. They love to see the college that you're working with. So if you have any Utah stuff, please throw it on. Number 3, please don't touch any equipment without consulting facility staff. This is for your safety, other people's safety, as well as just for the plant's operation in general. You don't want to interfere with any of that. And last, and paramount, never, ever touch electrical equipment when placing data loggers or other devices, or in any other scenario not listed here. You don't get paid enough to deal with electricity, and it's really scary anyways. So, all in all, hope you guys stay safe out there, and hope you do some good work. Thanks.